Hey Doc, Sam Carlson here with Patient Stream, and this week in New Patient School we talked about the numbers that you need to know to grow your practice. Now, there are numbers, over the years I've learned this, there are numbers inside your practice that if you know them, you can completely change how you make a profit in your practice and how much of a profit you want to make. So in this training, we go from the foundational numbers where you're at right now, how to target a number and how to hit it. In this video, I'm going to show you that it is a numbers game. And I'm also going to explain to you the rules about how that game works so you can use those rules to grow your practice and, quite frankly, do it pretty easy. So, tune into this video and let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below.
All right. What is up, everybody? Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to New Patient School. My name is Sam Carlson. I'm excited to have you guys here today. We're going to jump right into the content. So before we jump too far into this training, I want to set a couple of expectations about what we're doing here today and why I'm doing this. Today's training is called Practice Genesis, the rules to a game you didn't know you were playing. And we're going to go through a couple of resources here today, and we'll walk through those slowly. Which you can find those resources at mypatientstream.com/book. It's really important. So I've been in this growing your practice and getting new patients game for a very, very long time. And I've learned a couple things. And the one thing that I've learned that you need to establish a foundation and an understanding of what is reality before we do anything. And you know, it's funny because I built a couple of tools that I feel like hand the entire keys to the kingdom over to you. Okay. And that is what we're doing today. So we're going to start by first establishing a baseline. Okay. We're going to go through the most important steps that, I say the most important steps no one ever takes. And quite frankly, these are the steps that when we get new users or when I've worked with consulting clients in the past, they're the ones that get missed the most or skipped over the most. Okay. Then we're going to show you how to find your target. So everybody's target is different. What your business needs to make is different than what my business or somebody else's business is, but we're going to show you how to find that, how that all works in your practice. And then we're going to show you the exact numbers that you need. Okay. So today, by the end of the day, if we do this right, you're going to walk away with the exact numbers you need to do all of this. All right. So I hope that you're excited. Let me go ahead and we're going to get started first with a couple of things. So the first thing is today we're going to be going over numbers. I know numbers are not the most exciting things for people, but instead of being so confused by a lot of different problems, honestly, if we focus in on just a few numbers, it could change the entire outcome of everything you do in your practice. All right. So, but before we get started, I want to let you know, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Nope. Share screen of two resources that we're going to be using today. Okay. The first one is the book that I wrote called New Patient School, the how-to guide for converting leads into patients. And specifically, we're going to be going over the practice simulator and lead tracker. Okay. And this is a good resource for whatever reason. If you need help afterwards, this is step-by-step. So step one, establishing your practice baseline. We're going to do this on the video today, but this will kind of, serve you if you have any questions that maybe kind of come up after the fact. You'll be able to come back here to this book. You can again grab this book at mypatientstream.com/book. All right. Let's go ahead and pull up the practice simulator. Before we jump into this too far, I want to make sure that everybody can hear me, that we're good to go. So go ahead and do me a favor, grab the chat and just put in a little response like hello or yes, I'm here. We've got quite a few folks that are on now. Heather can hear me. Wonderful. Go ahead and let me know if you can hear me other than Heather. So thank you, Heather. And then if you're excited to get going. All righty. All right, let's jump. Hi, Dean. How you doing? All right, let's jump into this. All right. So step number one. Okay, before we jump into this too far, I want to kind of tell you how, like where this document, where this tool came from. Now, a long time ago, when I started into the chiropractic arena, helping chiropractors get new patients, it actually started with, I didn't start out as an agency. I started out as a practice consultant. I was working with a fellow who was really good at running chiropractic businesses and integrated clinics, and he was really good at that. And he trained me how to operate these businesses before I ever decided or thought of doing marketing for your practices. And one of the things that we would always do every single time before we started working with a client ever was something we called the ABC consult. Okay. And the ABC consult was the critical first step that we had to take before we could start doing any work, because it's kind of like if you're a doctor and somebody is saying, hey, I'm in pain, I got headaches, or I have, I got throbbing pain, whatever it is, you have to start out by asking a few baseline questions before you can make any type of diagnosis or any type of plan to fix the problem. Okay. And it's the same thing when it comes to your business. All right. So that's why we start here at step number one. And that was when I talk to you about how effective this tool is, it's not coming to you strictly as a marketer. It's coming to you as a marketer who has worked and built practices just like the one that you're operating. Okay. So I want to make that point really quick here. Now, as we look at this document, you're going to see a couple of things that I want to draw your attention to immediately. One, you see step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Obviously, that's because there's a chronological order to doing, to doing this exercise. Okay. 2 is colors. Anything in green has a pre-built and figured out formula. You don't have to do anything. It auto outputs whatever data, and we're going to go over that, whatever data we need to get going. Okay. Anything in blue is going to require some input on your part. Okay. So look, there's not very much there in blue. So this should be a really pretty quick and straightforward process, but just so you understand how to use this, that's what we're doing. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to zoom in here and we will start, back up just a little bit. And we're going to start at step number 1. All right. So step number 1. Now it says 30-day time frame. Okay. We're going to establish a baseline. Now I do understand that sometimes a 30-day snapshot is not as reliable. That's why you can see this has month by month. So you can kind of gauge what you're doing every single month. But just to understand how this thing works. Okay. We're going to do a 30-day time frame of how many new patients your clinic added. Okay. In the last 30 days. So this month is, what is this? April. I should know that. But anyway, so March, we're going to say the 30-day time frame. We know March. We can look at March. It's easy to do. How many new patients did your clinic add in total from everything that it did? From maybe you did workshops, maybe you did marketing, maybe you had people refer, everything you did. How many new patients did you add? I'm going to go ahead and obviously I'm going to put a number in here. Okay. And that will serve for step number 1, collections. So collections is pretty straightforward. In the month of March, not what did you charge to insurance or anything else, how much money did you make? Okay. So we'll go ahead and put a number in here. We're going to put, let's see, we're going to put 53 or 54, 500. We'll give ourselves a little bit of a odd number. Now, obviously your number is going to be a little bit different than that. Okay. And then the total number of visits Okay. Individual visits. That's like, how many visits are you seeing a week? How many visits did you see in the month? Okay. In this case, we're going to say, let's see here, 40 new patients. I'm guessing something in the realm of 200 visits. Oh, no, that would be for a week. So we need 2 times 4. We need 800 visits. Okay. And right away, we're going to get some feedback. Okay. We're going to get some feedback, by the way, in the way of numbers that should mean something to us. And we've got these little arrows over here. Okay. And it kind of says what each one of these is. But I'll go ahead and we'll step through these. So your new patient stat, it's just a carryover. Okay. We know that our new patient stat is currently 40 new patients. That's what we did in the month of March. Now, your patient visit average, PVA. What is your PVA? Well, the PVA is effectively the average amount of visits that a patient will experience over the lifetime of this particular time frame, or a lifetime visit average. Okay. So in this case, it looks like about 20 visits, which when I was consulting, anything over 16 was considered good. So this would be a good PVA. Okay. Now here we're getting into some of the things that are somewhat subjective, but I'm going to use some of my, again, I'm going to use some of my experience and history in this. The per visit value. Now this is $68. Okay. Again, these formulas are something we use for a long time. We know how they work. And if you have questions, go ahead and grab the chat and let me know. But the per visit value, that means that on average, when a patient comes in, you're averaging about $68.13 in revenue per visit. Okay. Now, this is actually pretty low. We would target something closer to $85 and higher. All right. And then the per case value, again, you get a new patient. What's it worth? Well, in this case, the data shows that a new patient is worth $1,362.50. Okay. We liked for chiropractic patients, we like that case value to be over $1,500. So at this point, I am guessing that there's actually quite a few people on this training, as well as people who will watch the replay, that actually never really took a minute or took the time to figure out what these numbers were and what they could mean to you. And what's really interesting about these numbers is once you know these numbers, then you can start messing with them. You can start doing things. I mean, right now I could tell you, okay, per visit value, I'm guessing that a clinic in this scenario probably is not doing re-exams. Okay. Because if you're doing a re-exam, and I think it's been a little while, every 12th visit or 30 days, something along those lines, that's going to add, a couple of $100 to your care plans and things like that. You're probably not doing any DME. So there's a lot of things in these numbers that are really revealing, and they'll give you a place to start figuring things out. All right. So hopefully that's pretty cool in and of itself. So let's go ahead and we're going to move over to step number 2. Now, step number 2. All right. There's going to be, there's actually a lot to do here, or a lot to learn from step number 2. And we're actually going to go to step 2. We're going to fill it out, and then we're going to come back to it at the end. All right. So step number 2 is tracking all of your marketing stats. Now, if you're currently with Patient Stream, then you can go in and you can, fill out these numbers, and this will be good to go. If you're new to Patient Stream and you have never run marketing campaigns before, we're going to establish, we're going to use our baseline, our average numbers as your baseline, so you can work from there. So you can have a starting point today and know how to test as you move forward. All right. So these cells, the blue cells, once again, are designed to add up all of the columns and give you a value. So in this case, what you do is you go, hey, in March, the first week of March, we got 10 new leads. Okay. And of those 10 leads, we were able to get 6 people to make an appointment. All right. Of the 6 people who made an appointment, we were able to get 5 of them to show up. All right. And then of the 5 people, we were able to get 3 to go from day 1 to day 2. Then ultimately we enrolled 2 people. All right. That's the very simplistic way of looking at this. Now, again, if you haven't done this before, and you're trying to get some numbers to start with, you're not going to have the week by week, of course. So we'll just go ahead and give you some baseline numbers. So we're going to go ahead and again, all these columns add together. So we'll say you're going to average. I think our average clinic is probably doing something in the realm between 50 to 65 leads in a month, something like that. So we'll go ahead and add another 40 leads on here. Let's go 45. Okay. That'll give us a total of 55 leads for the month. All right. And then of those 55 leads, let's say we hit, let's see here, get 30. That's a little above average. So let's go ahead and we're going to go back to 25. Okay. And I'll tell you what that means here in just a minute. Okay. 25. Okay. And then the show rate of the 25 folks, we're going to say, let's see here, 25, we're going to say 19 showed up. Okay. Of the 19 who showed up, we're going to say 15 advanced from day 1 to day 2. And then of those folks, we're going to say 10 new patients signed up. Okay. And over here, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to jump over here real quick because we're going to come back to these stats. Over here, we need to input a number. Once again, these all add up. Okay. So we're going to say 10 leads, 200, we're going to say we spent $220. And I'll tell you why. The reason I'm saying $220 is because our average lead cost for chiropractic stuff is right around $22. Okay. So we took 10 times $22, and that is an ad spend for that week. All right. And then over here, we'll say, we'll just, you know what, let's go ahead and say this actually makes our lead cost a little higher. Okay. But it's going to give us some cool numbers. All right. So here's kind of what these totals mean at the bottom. So first, we got total lead volume of 55 leads for that time period for March. Okay. Of the 55 leads, 56.36% had an appointment made. All right. Now, remember that number is represented here. There's some numbers up here that I'm going to go over in just a minute. All right. Of the 31, 24 people showed up. That's a 77% show rate. And then of the 24, 18, so 75% advanced from day 1 to day 2. And then ultimately 12 people, so 66.67% converted into care. All right. So basically we spent, in this case, $1,420 to add 12 new patients. All right. Before I go any further, are there any questions? Because whenever we're looking at formulas or anything like that, I know that this particular step seems to have a lot of questions. If there's any questions, please go ahead, use the chat feature. It's at the bottom of the screen there. Grab that and let me know. Okay. And while you're doing that, I'm going to draw your attention to a couple of things up here. Okay. Stat. Okay. The stats that we are trying to hit, the stats that we are aiming for. This is why this is one of the reasons why this training and New Patient School, the book, are so important, because nobody's telling you this. Nobody's telling you what the rules to this game actually are. Okay. So first off, lead volume. Okay. Lead volume is whatever you're able to get. And with Patient Stream, once again, you're using Patient Stream. You're able to, turn on a campaign, get, good lead volume. If you're not getting the lead volume you want, you turn it off, you turn on the next one. Okay. So lead volume isn't generally an issue. If it is, reach out to our support team. We'll help you out. All right. Appointments set. Again, 60% is the goal. That's the target. One of the reasons, this is actually probably the most egregious part of the process, is dropping the ball at this particular step. And the reason I say egregious is because it's easy to fix, but because nobody knows what the number is and what they should be doing to hit that, it kind of ends up in dead space. Nobody ends up doing anything. Leads are not patients yet, guys. We need to advance the sale. And so 60% is the goal. All right. And we're going to talk about how to hit that 60% here shortly. 70% is the show rate. 80% need to advance from day 1 to your day 2, and then 80% need to enroll. Now, these are the rules of the game you never knew. These numbers are numbers that the 7-figure practices around you, that they figured out, but they're not telling anybody. All right. So these are the numbers that you first have to measure. Okay. That's the first part, is measure each one of these and then be able to correct accordingly. All right. Now we're going to come back to this step because that one is really an important step. All right. So now over here on this side, we see a lot of really cool stuff that's starting to populate for us. This is valuable information. All right. This is really cool. Now, the real question comes, okay, the projected total value right now, or the projected value right now is $54,500. That's a number that's carried over. But you own a business because you want that business to produce a good lifestyle for you and for your family and good outcomes for your patients. You're not doing this to reach a glass ceiling, and not everybody wants to make money to better their lives and others that they care for. All right. Now, what if I told you that you can actually do that systematically? Well, this is what you're going to do. There's one number that we need to figure out. So in addition to what we're doing, and based on the numbers that we have right now, how many new patients do we need to hit a mark? So this number down here is going to change as we change values here. So let's say we want to hit that 7-figure clinic mark. We want to hit that, that $83,000 a month in collections. Let's say we want to hit that. Well, what would happen in that case if we added 20 new patients? We're getting close. At 20 new patients, we're getting right there. So it looks like we're going to be right at about 22 new patients. So 22 new patients is going to put us at $84,000. Now, it doesn't just happen. Okay, well, I put some numbers in a spreadsheet. It gives you concrete information about how you're going to need to do that. All right. So in this month, we spent $1,420 and we got a result of 12 patients. If we want to hit this $84,475 a month, we're going to need to spend, instead of, what did we say? $1,400, we're going to need to spend $4,000. $4,000 or $134 a day based on our current numbers. And this is why we track them every single week, is going to get us to that goal. Okay. These are numbers that nobody will tell you, nobody knows, because this is what it takes to do it. Now, this is where the business owner, the CEO in you really comes to play. Okay. So total number of leads needed every month to do this. Well, 156 leads, prospects, based on our current performance, is what we're going to need to add to hit these numbers. All right. Now, what's interesting is this could also, I could see how if you're a doc in here and you're like, hey, well, what about what if we change a couple things? What if we change a couple things up here to, like, let's say we were to meet with a consultant coach and say, hey, well, these are our numbers. How can we get our per visit value up? All right. Let's say we were able to get that from 54 to 64. Okay. Well, all of a sudden, our per visit value is up, our per case value is up. Now, instead of needing 22 patients, well, now we really only need, let's see here, is it? Come on. What's going on? There we go. What happens when we do? Oh, we don't even need 15. We need 12. 12 patients instead of 22. That's the power of knowing your numbers, you guys. The power of knowing your numbers is knowing what things to tweak. So instead of spending $4,400 a month, now we're spending $2,800 a month. Instead of getting 155 leads, now we're doing 110. This is important stuff. This is the stuff that you need to know. So hopefully you can see how all this simulation stuff works. I want to jump back to this real quick. All right. These are the numbers nobody wants to measure. These are the numbers everybody wants to push off. But I'm telling you right now, these are the numbers that if you tweak today will trickle down your funnel next month. And they'll trickle down in a way that will change the entire way of how you ever ran your business. There's nothing cooler to me than to get a call from a client that knows this game. In fact, this happened to me yesterday. I was talking with a client who is playing now he's creating his own rules. He's doing a pay per show model, and he's throwing in a step between here and here to see if he can spend less time doing confirmation calls and still get the same numbers. He's creating some new rules. But guess what? You don't get to do that if you don't know what the rules are to begin with. All right. So we're focusing right now on this particular statistic. Okay. The target ratio for appointments set and leads received. If you're not hitting this stat, go through the lead to appointment protocol and checklist to see where your problems are happening. All right. Now I'm going to go over this right now. Okay. But what I want to do is invite anybody who's watching to the next training, because New Patient School is going to be very redundant from a perspective of, I only care about the things that work. All right. I don't care about what people say. I care about what actually works. So, let's go to the lead to appointment stat. Okay. Now I'm going to give you, this is on page, let's see here. What is this? 18, page 18 of the New Patient School handbook/book. All right. The checklist here is written in a way to where you can say, okay, how did we do on personalizations? How did we do on optimizations? How do we do on lead calling? How are we doing on daily marketer script? Okay. What I'm going to do right now to answer your question, Stephanie, is I'm going to go over the biggest leverage points that I have found that make the biggest difference. But then I'm going to encourage anybody watching to go through this entire stat, because it's not a matter of, hey, just do this one thing and everything's going to be different. It's going to be a combination of things. All right. So the patient stream personalizations protocol, that's the first one. All right. Let's see here. These are optimizations. Okay. So the follow-up protocol. So when you get any given campaign, okay, you're going to be given, let's use, for example, a spinal decompression campaign. Okay. Patient stream is going to upload for you a follow-up campaign. It's going to say something like, hey, Sam, you did it. Congratulations. We're going to be reaching out to you to help you set up your new patient appointment. Okay. Well, what you want to do, okay, to maximize your follow-up efforts and increase the level of response, I strongly recommend that you go into that campaign. And if you need, if you need help, you can jump into support and ask Heather for a video on how to do it. It's really simple. But I strongly recommend that you jump into your follow-up protocol and you personalize it. Now, what does personalize mean? Personalize means, first of all, you proofread it. So it sounds like you, sounds like a person. It's written in a way that is somewhat general. Okay. And while it does work, it can definitely do a lot better if you put your own spin on it, including we have people who will put like a picture of their front desk. Like, they'll on an auto response, it'll say something like, "Hey, Sam, this is Heather." And it'll have a picture of Heather in the text. Okay. We'll personalize it. We'll let them know, hey, we're people on the other end of this. So that's step number one. Potential optimizations. Optimizations are all about, again, testing every demographic. So people with knee pain, people with neuropathy, people with weight loss, people with back pain, people with migraines, they're all different groups of people. Okay. And some are more closely related than others. But in this case, what you want to do is and by the way, don't do all of these at once. Okay. Add one thing and then, improve and optimize from there. But your initial campaign that you get, the auto response, is something like, again, Sam, you did it. Somebody's going to reach out from the team, whatever. Well, on these, you might consider a couple of different approaches. Okay. So the meet them approach, or engage approach, qualify approach, commit approach. All right. So read through these and say, hey, well, I kind of feel like I'd like to test that. So for example, the engage, Sam, this is Jacob from this clinic. And then 5 seconds later, so you'd set up a 5 second shortly thereafter text. Sorry to hear about your knee pain. What part of your knee is hurting the most? This is a cool angle because we start addressing a very specific thing, and it kind of seems like a person is doing that. Okay. And so it's also congruent to what they're doing. Lead calling protocol. Go down to the lead calling protocol. Couple things. The rule of three. All right. Now I'm going to get into the most egregious offenders of the confirmation. One is the rule of three. Okay. If you're not getting a show rate that is 70% or higher, it's probably because it may be because you are violating this rule. You don't ever make an appointment past the third day from the point of contact with the lead. Okay. So today is, Friday. So Fridays are hard. This is why a lot of stuff on Fridays is not great. So the rule of three would be Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So Monday is the day that you want to do that. All right. Worst case scenario is Tuesday. You get a lead on Monday. Do not schedule out past Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Do not schedule out past Thursday. Okay. And if they want to do Friday, say, sorry, it's all booked up. In fact, we're booked up for 3 weeks after that. Can I call you back later in the week to see if something clears up? Right. That's how serious this rule is. The double call. Now, the double call for your situation, Stephanie, the double call is probably one of the biggest things when it comes to getting a hold of people. And here's why. We all do this, by the way. All right. People are more trained to screen calls than they have ever been. And it's not an aggressive approach to call them if they screen the call, to call them back 5-10 seconds later. That's not as aggressive as you think. And the reason I say that is because I use it. I use it for my leads when we get people who want to use PatientStream, and we have a lot of people who use this. And I don't remember a single time where anybody has ever reported to me or where I've ever experienced somebody being upset by that. This is kind of a cultural thing that's happening right now. This will double your contact rate. All right. So right now, if you're getting 50 leads and you're not getting the 60% target rate, and it's because you're not getting the actual people on the call, it's probably because they're screening. And they're screening not because they hate your guts. They're screening because they're trained to. This is a cultural phenomenon right now. Okay. This is probably the biggest thing that's going to help you. Okay. Again, I'm going to encourage everybody to go back through this particular protocol. And then the daily marketer script. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today because this is a training in and of itself, but this is a script that is written with all the psychological triggers and everything in mind that will help you position yourself the right way when you have people on the call to filter out the wrong people. Okay. If you're getting a lot of that, then, this is a good way to like have them not waste your time in clinic, but also to build up the qualification or whether or not that person is qualified. Okay. So to answer your question, go in, learn, memorize, train on the lead to appointment stat and protocol, and you should be good to go. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions? All right. Well, you guys, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. Don't forget, go to mypatientstream.com/book, grab the book, grab the simulator, grab the protocols, grab everything you need to know and start crushing it with your patients. If for whatever reason you are not a Patient Stream user yet, first of all, you should be. If you want to learn more about it, go to mypatientstream.com/demo. Set up a demo with me. I'll walk you through the process. If you're on, you have a friend you want to refer them over. Sharing is caring. That's what I say. All right, guys, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next Friday on New Patient School.